Well, as you say, Nigel, it's difficult to know, particularly when you look at this 250-page white paper produced by Michael Gove today, MP for Surrey, of course, a prosperous part of southern England. It was dismissed by his Labour shadow for levelling up, Lisa Nandy, MP for Wigan, as indicative of as a government that's out of energy and it is out of ideas. There was a 12-point plan, a lot of initiatives across housing, transport, infrastructure and education, as Mr Gove says, to reinvigorate forgotten areas of the UK. On the other hand, there is no additional money for these initiatives, and a lot of this 12-point plan, the white paper admitted, won't be delivered until 2030 at the earliest.
Yeah, Liam, I heard Jacob Rees-Mogg at the weekend describing levelling up as this great incentive for business, with incentives, with cuts in regulation. I mean, a really traditional conservative free market argument for what levelling up was. And then I hear Michael Gove talking about money. I mean, do they know themselves here what they're really trying to do?
You and I talk often, Nigel, on screen and indeed in the GB News newsroom about what the Conservative Party stands for philosophically. Is it a party of low tax and incentives for business and for people to go to work, or is it a party, as it seems to be to some eyes under Boris Johnson, of much, much higher spending, albeit a lot of that spending has been during this pandemic? Does levelling up mean more government spending? In my view, I always thought of it as a scheme of tax incentives, free ports, enterprise zones, the sort of things that you were just talking about, but turbocharged, on speed if you like, to bring in more investment from around the country and indeed from around the world to tap into the undoubted entrepreneurial energy and vim that has been here for years, untapped, in places like Burnley where we were today, in places like Macclesfield where we were the day before, in places like Blackpool where I'll be broadcasting On the Money tomorrow at 1 p.m. Darren McCaffrey will be broadcasting his political programme at 3 p.m. and indeed you will be here tomorrow night, Nigel, here in Blackpool. All of us trying to work out what levelling up really is and always asking the local people what they think.
Is there a danger, Liam, finally, is there a danger that by talking so much about levelling up in the run-up to a 2019 general election in which many of those seats like Blackpool became, Conservative, is there a danger they've raised public expectation of what is going to happen in their areas to too high a degree?
I think there is a danger. In Burnley, where we were earlier today, they haven't had a Tory MP since 1910, and they got one in 2019 on the promise not just of getting Brexit done, but also levelling up. Same here in Blackpool. Blackpool South now has a Tory MP after having a Labour MP for a long time. The government wants levelling up to be the centrepiece of its relaunch, moving us on from Partygate, from Downing Street shenanigans and Westminster theatrics, but it seems to me, talking to many people in Macclesfield, in Burnley, and I'm sure in Blackpool too when we get down to it tomorrow, that there is a lot of, I wouldn't say scepticism, but weary cynicism that the Tory party really believes that they can really make amends for previous political hurt that they've caused in these Northern and Midlands seats. They were lent their votes, the Tories, by seats like this in 2019. If Boris Johnson can't retain those seats, he'll lose his majority.